Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday, August 3rd, coming to you live from Seoul. I'm Kim Mo-gen. Before we begin, these are the stories we're following at the top of the hour. South Korea reports more than 1,200 new COVID-19 infections Tuesday, slightly falling from the past week. Authorities plan to boost vaccination efforts to curb the spread of the virus. South Korea's consumer prices grew more than 2% for the fourth straight month in July, recording the highest jump in 2 months. Statistics Korea attribute this to last year's low base rate and the tight supply of farm and livestock products. And South Korean superstar boy band BTS has landed another #1 spot on America's biggest singles chart. This makes it the group's 10th consecutive week at the top, with Butter leading the Hot 100 chart once again. Our top story this morning, South Korea on Tuesday reported 1,202 new cases of COVID-19, staying above the 1,000 mark for the fourth week. The daily tally has slightly dropped, but this is mainly due to fewer tests carried out over the weekend. Of Tuesday's cases, all but 50 were locally transmitted, and there have been 5 more deaths, raising the death toll to 2,104. South Korea has also confirmed 2 cases of the Delta Plus variant for the very first time. There are growing concerns the Delta Plus variant could be as transmissible as the Delta variant first identified in India. From today, South Korea will distribute another 1.1 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The doses are produced at an SK Bioscience production facility in Andong. These doses are part of the 20 million the South Korean government bought directly from AstraZeneca. In August, South Korea will procure more than 28 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines made by AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Moderna. Of them, 830,000 doses of AZ's vaccine will be distributed through the COVAX facility. Consumer prices in the month of July jumped by 2.6% from a year ago, posting the biggest rise in 2021. Statistics Korea said on Tuesday that the increase was due largely to a 2.7% increase in the price of personal services like dining out and traveling. The prices of farm and fisheries products also rose 9.6%. Although it is the first time this year that the increase was not in double digits, it is still a major contributor to the high inflation. Both eggs and garlic saw prices climb more than 50%. Statistics Korea expects the inflation to stabilize in the second of the year, as the prices of fresh produce and oil are expected to fall. We now turn to what's going on in Tokyo today as Team Korea bagged some more medals, including a gold on Monday. And with some incredible stories from the Olympics, regardless of nationalities, we have our Kim Do-yeon at the News Center for more. Do-yeon, first, let's start with what is going on at the moment.
Mo-gen, yes, we are well underway with Tuesday's events in the Olympics. At the moment, a diver is in the spotlight for Team Korea as he made it to the semi-final of the men's 3-meter springboard. Uharam is qualified for the round ranked 5th, giving fans some hope of a medal. The top 12 of 18 divers in the round will make it to the final later in the afternoon. So given his performance, it's likely that he will make it to the final if he maintains his form. This is not his first Olympics, as he participated in Rio at the 2016 Olympics, where he made history by making it to the final of 10-meter platform diving, a first for a South Korean diver. He ranked 11th then and promised to get a medal at the 2020 Games, so fingers are crossed for the athlete. Now turning over to a wrap-up of Monday, Team Korea had a strong start to the final week of the Olympics, especially in gymnastics, as fans initially didn't see a gold coming. But it turns out that this gold medalist always had it in him. Shin Jea-hwan made his debut in the professional field in 2019 and has been sweeping medals since. Regardless, an Olympic gold is an incredible feat for him and the country, as this is the second ever gymnastics gold from a Korean athlete in the country's Olympics history. Shin Ye-eun digs deeper.
a great start to his Olympic career. Shin Jea-hwan took his first ever gold medal in the men's vault final on Monday. The 23-year-old finished first place ahead of silver medalist Denis Ablazin of the Russian Olympic Committee and Armenia's Artur Davtyan with a final average score of 14.783. But his victory was a close one, as he and silver medalist Ablazin were tied in average scores. But Shin took the win with a higher difficulty score of 6.0 points. He had been hailed as the world #1 after making his professional debut in 2019 at the Zhaoqing World Challenge Cup, where he won silver in the men's vault. From then, Shin has won 2 more gold medals at World Cup events. He is now shoulder to shoulder with Yang Hak-sun, who used to be South Korea's only gold medalist in Olympic gymnastics. Yang won a gold in the 2012 London Olympics. But for the Tokyo Olympics, he placed 9th in the qualification rounds and failed to make it to Monday's finals. Monday's win places Shin Jea-hwan as the next face of South Korea's artistic gymnastics. South Korea now has a total of 11 Olympic medals in gymnastics. Shin Jea-hwan, Arirang News.
South Korea on Monday also claimed a hard-won bronze in badminton. In fact, the bronze medal match was an all-South Korean affair, as our Han Sung-woo reports.
It was an all-Korean affair. Kim So-young and Kong Hee-yong on Monday beat their opposing compatriots Lee So-hee, Shin Seung-chan 2-0 to win the bronze medal in the badminton women's doubles, the country's only medal in the sport this Olympics. With their victory, the two pairs' head-to-head record now stands at 3 wins and 4 losses. The last time South Korea took home badminton gold was in 2008, when Lee Yong-dae and Lee Hyo-jung won the mixed doubles. The country's baseball team thrashed Israel's 11-1 to advance to the semifinals. The game was called in the 7th inning due to the 10-run mercy rule. Korea scored 7 runs in the 5th inning alone, including a 2-run homer from team captain Kim Hyun-soo. Should Korea win their next game, they'll get a chance to defend their title as Olympic champions on Saturday in the final. In table tennis, Lee Sang-soo, Jang Woo-jin, and Jeong Hyung-sik swept Brazil 3-0 to advance to the men's team semifinals, slated for Wednesday. Just hours before, the women's team, led by 17-year-old Shin Yu-bin, also made it to the next round in 3 sets, beating Poland to reach the quarterfinals. Han Sung-woo, Arirang News.
Yet another upset at the Tokyo Olympics. The Canadian women's football team edged their U.S. counterparts, beating them 1-0 in the semis. The U.S. had been favorites to win gold following their success at the Women's World Cup. Canada, ranked world number 8, broke the deadlock in the 75th minute with a penalty. The Americans fought back, hitting the post in the 86th minute, but to no avail, and they head to the bronze medal match on Thursday. Canada take on Sweden in Friday's final. 1 down, 2 to go for Dutch track phenomenon Sifan Hassan as she took the gold in the 5,000 meters on Monday. Amazingly, this also comes just hours after her fall in the 1,500-meter heat, where she picked herself back up immediately and finished to qualify for the semi-final. Despite her performances throughout the day, she did tell reporters that she felt pain and thought it was over for her, but that clearly wasn't the case. A win in both the 1,500 and 10,000 meters would be a historical feat in the Olympics for a runner to win races over both long and short distances. It's not an unprecedented achievement for her, though, as she has already won in both events at the 2019 World Athletics Championships in Doha. A female athlete from Belarus who refused her team's order to fly home early from the Olympics has been granted a humanitarian visa by Poland. Krystyna Tymanowskaya complained about her coaches on social media after being forced to enter the 4x400-meter relay at short notice instead of her usual 200-meter event. She was reportedly forced to fly home afterwards and expressed concerns for her own safety. The 24-year-old is reportedly at the Polish embassy in Tokyo after spending the night in a hotel under protection from Japanese police. Poland has vowed to do whatever is necessary to help. Finally, let's take a look at where countries stand in terms of the medal rankings, as well as some exciting events to look out for throughout the day. I'll be back with more in a later newscast.
South Korean superstar boy band BTS has landed another #1 spot on America's biggest singles chart. Now, this makes it the group's 10th consecutive week at the top, with Butter leading the Hot 100 chart once again. Our Choi Min-jung reports.
BTS has yet again topped the Billboard Hot 100 chart with their mega summer hit, Butter. The song has now taken the throne for the 9th time, making it the chart's longest-running #1 of 2021. Butter clinched the top spot for 7 consecutive weeks following its debut in May. And last week, the song returned to the pinnacle after briefly losing pole position to the band's other hit, Permission to Dance. BTS now has a total of 15 weeks at the top of the Billboard Hot 100, including 1 week each for Life Goes On and Savage Love, and 3 weeks for their previous hit, Dynamite.
The fact that the song remained at #1 for a long period of time is, of course, due to the support of the fans, but the song Butter itself should be viewed as proof that it's receiving love from a lot of people.
In the week ending July 29th, Butter drew 8.1 million streams in the US and 30.5 million radio airplay audience impressions. The song also topped Billboard's digital song sales. Because this achievement has been reached in 3 decades, since legendary pop star Michael Jackson earned 5 Hot 100 #1s in 9.5 months from 1987 to 1988. With Permission to Dance coming in at #9 on this week's chart, BTS may have another shot at having 2 songs among next week's top 10 hits. Choi Min-jung, Arirang News.
North Korea has ranked the lowest in the world when it comes to freedom of expression. In a recent study by British-based human rights organization Article 19, North Korea was the lowest out of 160 countries and was the only country to get 0 points out of 100. Syria, Turkmenistan, and Eritrea each got 1 point, followed by China with 2 points. North Korea has been in the report's lowest category, classified as in crisis, for 11 straight years. 34 countries, including Russia and Vietnam, fell into the bottom group. Meanwhile, South Korea scored 83 points and was classified as open, the highest possible category. The U.S. State Department says North Korea will be among items on the agenda during ministerial meetings with the ASEAN this week. Secretary of State Antony Blinken plans to participate in 5 virtual meetings with the ASEAN. They will discuss freedom of the seas in the South China Sea, implementing UN Security Council resolutions on North Korea, as well as the Myanmar issue. On Tuesday, Seoul's Foreign Minister Chung Eui-yong is taking part in the South Korea-ASEAN meeting. The agenda includes reinforcing cooperation with Southeast Asian neighbors as part of South Korea's new Southern policy. Tensions are escalating in the Middle East, with the U.S. and U.K. now joining Israel in blaming Iran for an attack that killed 2 on an oil tanker in the Gulf. Tehran continues to dismiss the accusations, calling them groundless. On Monday, the U.K. summoned the Iranian ambassador over what it called a, quote, unlawful attack. Prime Minister Boris Johnson called for Iran to face the consequences. Britain and the U.S. say an Iranian drone attacked the tanker that's managed by UK-based firm Zodiac Maritime. The U.S. health authorities have confirmed that 70% of American adults have now received at least 1 shot of a COVID-19 vaccine. The milestone comes a month after President Biden's goal of reaching that figure by early July. Lee Seung-jae reports.
According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on Monday, 70% of American adults have now received at least one shot of a COVID-19 vaccine. While the latest milestone is a month after President Biden's initial 4th of July goal, the achievement is seen by federal health officials as a crucial step toward the U.S. reaching herd immunity. Experts also say that while the milestone is a significant step forward, it should be seen a floor rather than a ceiling, especially as the Delta variant continues to rage across the U.S. However, according to Dr. Paul Offit, a voting member of the FDA's Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee, at least 80% of the population need to be vaccinated to truly reach some form of herd immunity. Others say that while the 70% mark is noteworthy, local communities with lower vaccination rates remain a concern. Meanwhile, new data from the Kaiser Family Foundation shows that so far, less than 1% of fully vaccinated people have experienced a breakthrough infection. Also, data from the CDC shows under 0.004% of people who have been fully vaccinated have experienced a breakthrough case that resulted in hospitalization, and less than 0.001% died from the virus. So far, the authorities say there have been about 6,600 breakthrough cases out of more than 164 million fully vaccinated Americans. Analysis also shows that more than 90% of cases and more than 90% of hospitalizations and deaths have occurred among unvaccinated people, with most states reporting more than 98% of COVID-19 cases being those who haven't had a vaccine. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
A report by the Wall Street Journal Monday claims the highly contagious Delta variant is stalling Asia's economic recovery after an early rebound. The report said that adding to rising COVID-19 cases, slow progress on vaccinations has begun to paralyze the region that had until recently kept the virus in check. Southeast Asia showed the largest decline in manufacturing production since May last year due to the recent introduction of social distancing and lockdown measures. The Wall Street Journal also noted that exporting countries in Asia, such as South Korea and China, which have benefited from a rebound in overseas consumer demand, are also showing signs of slowing down. It also predicts the rise in cases could change Asian central banks' plans to normalize monetary policy. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, house prices have been on the rise in almost every major global economy, resulting in the broadest rally in nearly 30 years. Kim Hyo-sun has this report.
The pandemic has triggered the biggest spike in global house prices in nearly 3 decades, reviving economists' concerns over its potential threat to financial stability. According to the Financial Times, annual house price growth across 40 OECD member states hit 9.4% in the first quarter of 2021. During the same period, only 3 countries experienced real-term price declines, with the smallest margin since data was first compiled in 2000. Data also suggests that house prices continue to increase in the second quarter as well, with the U.S. witnessing its fastest annual rate in nearly 30 years in April. Strong growth persisted in South Korea, Britain, New Zealand, and Canada as well. In South Korea, house prices rose an average of more than 26% over the last 12 months in the country's 9 major regions, including Seoul, Gyeonggi-do Province, and Busan. The Financial Times quoted economists who explained that low borrowing costs made home purchases more affordable. In addition, the article also pointed to the fact that many households, especially those who are better off, accumulated large amount of savings during the early stages of the pandemic as prolonged lockdowns limited their spending. At the same time, it adds people preferred to move to bigger houses as they had to spend more time at home due to antivirus restrictions. While house prices growth can be a positive factor in the short term as property owners feel richer and spend more due to the valuation of their assets, economists warn it could lead to an unsustainable boom long term, especially when it's accompanied by strong credit expansion. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
Many businesses struggle with the changes brought on by the pandemic, but some have beaten the odds and found ways to turn their luck around. Kim Hyun-sing has this story.
This machine can be found on escalators across the Seoul subway. In less than a second, it can kill 90% of germs on the escalator's handrails. The gadget was developed by a South Korean company called Clearwind Korea.
Clearwind Korea specializes in hygiene. We export to 56 companies worldwide, and our products are installed in 312 places nationwide.
But before COVID-19, the company was on the brink of collapse.
It was very difficult. We were roughly $3.5 million in debt. It was unimaginably tough. I even went to Han River several times thinking about ending things.
But even during the toughest of times, he had faith in his product. So he persevered in his 30 square meter office with his one remaining employee until demand started to soar in 2020, when people grew more worried about germs than ever. Now his company has 3 factories and 24 employees with a new product on the market, a portable UVC disinfectant that destroys 99.9% of germs within just 3 seconds. Semopai is another COVID-19 success story. As a party planning company, Semopai felt the full force of the COVID-19 social distancing measures.
Our profits were zero during the first half of 2020. We thought the company would go under, but we wanted to at least try before we completely failed. So we developed online workshop events, which eventually became a big hit.
One of their biggest hits is a Zoom Sports Day, where people participate in online triathlons or kart races.
People actively participate in the activities, and when the event is over, they contact us directly saying that they've beaten the corona blues because of us, and that they never knew that online events could be so fun.
Semopai now has more than 100 clients and is exceeding its pre-pandemic profits. That's after COVID-19 had left it no choice but to innovate in order to survive. Kim Hyun-sung, Arirang News.
Good morning. Have an umbrella handy. Heavier rain clouds will move in as the day goes on, and Chungcheongdo and Jeollado provinces could see more than 100 millimeters of heavy rainfall. Despite big relief from the heat yesterday in the capital, heat alerts remain in place. Temperatures will go up a couple of degrees higher today, while Daegu and Gyeongsangdo regions will endure steamy heat. Daegu will be topping out at 34 degrees, but Seoul will be getting up to 30 degrees this afternoon. You'll want to add a couple of degrees to these indicated numbers because high humidity will make it feel a lot muggier. But if you remember, it was just last week we were talking about how unbearably hot it was in the capital region with continuous tropical nights, so there's been much relief for last few days. But seasonally heat returns in the capital tomorrow with frequent rain in the forecast for a few more days. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the weather conditions around the world.
And that will do it for us at this hour on Arirang News. We'll be back at noon Korea time, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching and goodbye.